God to apply to it. It is all about context. So it's not modernisation. It's not updating. It's putting the Word of God into a context. And we have a context to think about in this generation, and it's really quite significant. Okay, so let's get on to how we value it. There's an old business expression, you might have heard it, you might not. It's a very simple one, but I think it's quite a clever one. If you always do what you've always done, then you'll always get what you've always got. Do you want to read that while I have a sip of water, make sure it's going in? This gets taught at quite high-level business meetings. And another thing I'll show you in a minute, I'm going to share some business stuff for you. I'll only charge you $15,000 for it, don't worry. Okay, so, you'll hear that. Trustees style. No, I'm kidding. But this gets shared at very high-level business meetings with very senior guys. You say, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. In other words, if you just stick to this in a business context, this is as good as it's going to get. And as time changes, it will deteriorate. So I will lay down another tough challenge. If we just carry on doing what we've always done, this is it. This is all it will be. Lovely, lovely, lovely though you are, lovely, lovely, lovely though this is all it will be. 60 people with a rising age, average age, helped very much by breeders. Where's Kieran gone? Kieran hasn't gone to the delivery board. So they're going to bring a 0 in very soon, a 0. That will kind of bring our average age down, but generally speaking, our average age is going to rise. So this is it. If we just carry on doing what we've always done, we could say we're kind of reasonably up to date in the way in which we kind of engage with people and the way we do things. But if we stick to this, this is it. And I don't know about you, but for me, that isn't advancing the kingdom. That isn't going to take the gospel the way that I believe we've been challenged to do it. So, are we doing okay? Because I'm about to hit you with a really complicated business management model. Look at that. This is, and again, one of the simplest graphs we ever use in some of the work we do. It's called the Kano model. It doesn't matter, he's just a person called Kano. This is part of it. And all it's trying to say to significant people in areas of business, and church leaders have had it run through them too, is there is this kind of thing you have to expect when you're providing any kind of a message, product or service that says that customers have a satisfaction kind of line, a kind of joy line, if you like. When you buy something, I'll use an example of a car, all right? So you can stay with me on this, hopefully everyone can think about this. There's things that you demand. There's things that you just say, I must have that. It's absolutely fundamental. 4 wheels, pretty fundamental. Yeah? Windows, pretty fundamental. There's some things that I expect. I expect it to have a stereo. I can't expect that now. There's things that I want. There's things that I'd like it to have. Sat-nav, for example, for now. And there's things that I get really excited about if the car has it, because I didn't think it would have that. Like voice-activated phone unit, built in. Didn't think that would happen in this car, and I get excited about that. There are things. The thing that we always share with these guys is that that will always be changing. So let me take you back to that example of a car. Who can remember 30 years ago? Thank you, good. Who bought a car, newish or oldish around 30 years ago? Sue, you're going to be very helpful in a minute. Thank you. Did it have an aerial? Just about.
Metal coat.
What kind of aerial did it have originally?
Had to pull it up.
Pull it up, yeah? Don't laugh. You can see some people going, oh, it's an aerial. Then you see the old cars, the aerial that you would grab hold of, pull up, and then give it through, which someone would break it off. Yeah? That's what the cocaine did. Yeah? We were really funky in my household, because we had one with a key. You put it in the top, turned it, and pulled it up.
Yeah, we bought one of those, then lost it.
Okay. If that came with a car, the turning, lock up, pull up one, you thought, oh, I wasn't expecting that. 5, 10 years later, up they go. For about 3 months. They get stuck and then get broken off. You put coat with that one too. Now, who's bought a car in the last 3 years? Where's the aerial? In the body of the car. It's built into the car these days. You rarely see aerials on the outside. So what is now, was once excited, wow, I've got an electronic, is not even really wanted. I don't even expect it. I would be disappointed if this thing went kicking up with an aerial, thinking, what's that thing do? I'm sure some of the younger people in the room are thinking, I've just lost now, I don't have any idea what that thing used to do. That was the aerial that picked up the radio. So now it's things like that. So things change. So as things move forward, television is another great example, my personal favourite. I'm going to pick on Jim Plummer because he's an easy target. If your lovely telly, the new one that you haven't got yet, the 52-inch LCD from Samsung, turned up in your house, and on the corner of it was a great big silver knob on it with numbers all around it, and you had to tune it
Send it back
to find the channels.
Send it back, mate.
Now admit your age, do you remember those tellies?
Yeah.
I remember those tellies.
And the
Black and white house, there's so much confusion happening in this corner right now, isn't there? In this corner, we had to tune this black and white telly and use this. And then you kind of, and it was usually hold the aerial.
Yeah, hold the aerial.
Let go, no, hold it. Let go, no. And try and get the switch in.
It was waiting for the valves to heat up. That was the worst one.
And you know what happened? Eventually, we put little red lines on it. Outside TV, that's BBC One. Now we've got 250 channels, push of a button, remote controls that do satellite, DVD player, and television. So your expectations change. The first ever remote, I remember it had a long wire on it. Stay with me, Anne, you're making me feel so old. It had a wire, but it did. It had a wire on it. You used to press the wire to get things. So these things are all, once we're excited, move on. All I'm saying is things are gonna change, all right? So, you know, and companies that usually don't get this, and I would say churches that don't get this fall into what we call a lag, which is that we stick with what we've got, we always do, we've always done it. At some point, something happens and we lose it. And it happened to Hoover, for example, when Dyson came on.
Yeah.
They said, who wants to take a bag out of it? I'll put this cyclone thing in, and Hoover went, no. Hoover, we've even been named after us. And Dyson took off and Hoover started to die. And the Hoover factory that's on the A40 now, is a Tesco's warehouse. Yeah? Parlophone Records, they used to be a big record label, did the same, didn't keep up with changes. Remember Bush Electronics?
Yeah.
Kodak even, I would argue. My family, I come from Kodak. My family work at Kodak. My family did work at Kodak. The only one left there hanging on by his fingernails is my brother, because everyone's been let off because people don't take photos that way anymore. And Kodak didn't change fast enough. Timex?
Yes.
Right.
Ticker.
Any others? Can you think of ones that you think, where's that company called?
Well, the car companies.
Pardon?
Car companies.
Lots of car companies. Car companies have probably been one of the biggest ones.
Walmart.
Exactly, that's the one I was waiting for. Walrus. Lloyds, as it used to be. The banks now. So as things change, I mean the banks are constantly on. As things change and demands of culture change and the online shopping changes and we don't keep up with the pace of that, things go to war. And it's a challenge for us. I hope you agree. I hope you agree.
Yes.
If you don't, I'm not doing very well. Why does this impact us then? And this is all business speak, you keep doing this stuff to us, and there's sort of this question about why is this important to us? Well, we are in the midst of a cultural revolution. We are in the midst of one of the biggest changes in the history of certainly this nation, and I would argue the world. We had the Stone Age, like I said, we had the Iron Age, we've had ages, but we are actually in an age now. We're not in a kind of change, we're in an actual age. Do you know what the age is called? It's called the information age. When they look back on this, in hundreds of years' time, they'll look back and say, around that time in history was the beginning of the information age. The internet is 20 years old, is it? Yeah. But the first time it was invented was to do just some exchanges through some physics scientists. That's all it was invented for. He said, if we do this thing www, World Wide Web, I'm a genius, we'll give it a name and we'll just be able to share information just between a handful of physics scientists. And here we are now. You're about to see some stuff I'm going to share. Because I thought I was fairly up to speed with technology. I have an iPhone, I have an iPod, I don't have an Apple because they're terrible things. I have lots of different modern features in my life, and I thought I was relatively kind of up to date. But I got a video sent to me this week by a non-believer, which God obviously said, send him that. This guy is very much a non-believer. Sent me this video, and I sat in front of it going, oh my word. So I'm going to share it with you, as long as my computer will get onto YouTube from here. So it's called Right Here, Right Now. It's got a bit of music to it.